Hi, rainbow hugs and tickles. So excited today. So much energy. Thank you for joining me. This is Joanna from the Early Morning Ascension Show, and we're so very grateful to offer you a beautiful channel. I'm going to probably tune into my Galactic teams. I've had some big activations lately. So I had some beautiful, beautiful, beautiful client appointments yesterday. So I'm so very grateful and just overjoyed when I connect with all of you because as a conduit, I activate more of my gifts and skills in dealing with you and opening up whatever portals from the galaxy and the universe that you come with, and the teams and the beings that you come with, and all the beings that you're working with. So it's just as much of a treat for me to tune in with all of you, and I feel very blessed to bring forward information for you. So I had two very wonderful appointments yesterday that I just wanted to send my deep gratitude to all of you that are joining for vocational sessions. And I put it on our community board on our YouTube channel. So if you wanted to read the community board posts about those services that I offer, usually the most popular ones are the 90-minute sessions, and they do come with a video recording. And for anybody that would like to leave their comments on our most recent sessions, I would love for you, because we had some beautiful, incredible activations that the angelics were assisting us with in clearing out some of the chakras and some of the ancient old beliefs that we've had about who we are. And we're really bringing in, as we're moving in our own unique ascension cycles and the new templates and the energetic templates we're all walking within, we're calling in the new earth ancestral bodies and ancestors we're working with, because as we're healing we're healing our ancestors. So we're allowing them the greater vastness and liberation as we create liberation in our life. So when you're releasing something that's very limited or controlled or fear-based, you're also releasing it for them. So it's a profound, I've said along in most of our videos that I don't have words to put for the profundity of this experience and how profound it really is when you're doing the inner work and you're having those alchemic experiences. And as a client experienced yesterday, when we had that activation, it was a profound, multidimensional, biochemical, spiritual shift, because your body releases. It does what it does to release what it needs to release. And there's physical, tangible evidence that you've just had a breakthrough. And so those are physical, tangible things, and that's alchemy. And you're the only one that takes you through that. You can have a conduit that assists with you. You can have your spirit guides helping you and guiding you. But those alchemic shifts is that pure of heart intention that you're ready for that next level. And why the heart activation and feeling into all that you are is so very powerful. And then there's nothing that can replace that true self-empowerment, knowing that you've done the work. You've had that pure resonance of heart, that you've alchemized something really profound. And that's why your body does feel what it needs to feel to purge and release and have that activation. That's showing you that you've done that next level. And so it's really inspiring. And as I've said in all of my work, but so many of you are now seeing it and feeling it for your own proof. Your life and your reality is your proof. Your health and your wellness is your proof. Your eternal youthfulness is your own proof. You're feeling yourself going through those breakthroughs. You're feeling yourself alchemize. And there's nothing more important and valuable than that, because you're the only one that can say that you've done that. That's your gift with God. That's your attunement with God. You and God walk through those attunement steps where what you thought was a block, what you thought you couldn't see yourself over, one activation and one session just breaks you through to a whole new level. And you're seeing yourself, you're feeling yourself, you're experiencing your reality in a whole new different way, because you've broken that plasma belief system. And that's what they are. They're constructs, as we've talked about before, those reality constructs. And every reality construct, whether 3D, 4D is the emotional healing of the 3D, and the staunch limiting and fear-based release. And then there's that 5D. And that 5D is where there's no more looking back at the 3D. It's really disappeared and gone. See, there is physical matter within that light, but the light is so overwhelming that it's just not there anymore. The 3D reality constructs are not there anymore. There are still physical beings behaving in those patterns because they're still not stepping outside of that mental realm. The 3D is mental. The 3D is that mental matrix, the beliefs, the patterns, the obsessiveness, the addictions, all of those are mental experiences from the woundings of the multidimensional body. And all of those constructs are now falling away because the light is so profound, especially right now. There's so much going on with our solar flares. They showed me this morning in in a discussion in one of our clients that the earth has shifted, and they showed me a 3-degree shift, which is quite a bit, a 3-degree shift in the toggle, if you will, of the earth, and how it's going to be assigning itself in a new bedding of the galaxy, which we're going to talk about in the channel notes that I took. So what we're going to talk about today, because all of these shifts are happening, the ascension symptoms that we briefly touched on last time, and we're going to hold a class in a couple of days for those of you that are interested in joining me in that class. Your guides will provide you the inspiration of it. It might not be for everybody because it will be an advanced class for those that have been on the path of awakening for a while. We're going to touch on some very advanced topics. So those of you that are healers and teachers and leaders wanting to understand more in-depth experiences about the brain and how our brains are going to be shifting and rewiring, how they already are. Some of us have already noticed in our client sessions, we've already noticed how we're shifting our patterns of thought and how it's affecting our personalities. Our personalities are going to go through a huge shift because it's part of the bathing of the light, the Christic light, that we are now stepping into more of that light body. So we're going to be talking about the DNA and prefrontal cortex and all of those experiences that are going to be held in the activation and ignition from the atom Eve Antine particles that have been on surge, and the solar flares are supporting that. So there's light coming from all directions. And so it's really profound. That's why what is hidden in the dark was always going to come out. Because the light, it cannot be stopped. It's just so powerful now. And it must come forward because we want to rewrite it. That's why we're here. We're not here to say, oh, well, what's gone wrong? We're here to say, wow, we can rewrite this. So it's about shifting our perspective. Whatever might be tumbling and falling, look at it as a great excitement. Wow, I went through that. That means I must have the exact skills that are necessary to rewrite this, because there's many more people that will be going through it. That's why you have all been, inspired, for those of you that so desire, to see me about the vocational sessions that help you align and refine your multidimensional experience so that you can offer it forward as a leader, a teacher, and a healer, so that you can be more fine-tuned and in alignment and have a grander 5D grasp of what is more of importance and value for yourself, and really start self-designing and self-directing yourself into a greater focus of 5D grids and 5D experiences, because it won't be anything to do with what we've ever discussed in 3D. And those of you that have had those vocational sessions, please feel free to leave your comments about how you felt those sessions to be and what they allowed you to experience, any activations. So feedbacks are really, very much appreciated, because it helps others to help themselves on their own path. It is always a self-defining path. And so be discerning about anyone that's telling you otherwise. Your alchemy is just you in spirit. Your alchemy is you in the purity of heart, to feel better, to know better, to have a higher version of yourself in your own reality, directing yourself and focusing yourself into higher versions of light and life and sacredness. We're meant to reconnect with a new self-value, new higher vibrational moralities, and aligning with the highest grids of the cities of light that they've been showing me, which is what we're preparing for. Those of us that are leaders and teachers of the fifth dimensional realm, creating new creational realities, we are all, bringing activations of such new cities of co-creation that are based on humanitarian, socio-altruism, and all of those preparations of our contacts and our alignments with our higher celestial beings and gatherings of evolutionary light programs. Will bring advancements in many areas, in all areas, and each and every one of us play a part in rewriting it. We're all a part of that beautiful, enormous puzzle of creation, and many of us are weavers, crystalline weavers of those various vibrational threads. And we're going to talk about what that kind of means through our topics today. Okay, so we're going to go back to the sessions. So really, I'm offering 3 specific sessions right now. And we do have a class that's coming up in a few days. So if you want access and a link to that class, it's $33 and it will be for 3 hours. So that's basically $11 an hour, which is incredibly resourceful. It's a great cost savings, because we're going to go over quite a bit. Channeled activations, we're going to bring in your teams, your ancestors, any information that'll come forward from your celestial teams, and there'll be a lot of activation and a lot of healing. It's just clearing away the residues of those things that you're feeling still, that you're carrying. So there'll be a lot of that taking place, and that will be on the dates I'll include and the information I will include if you email me your intention to be included in that class of the highest benevolence. And your guides will guide you. And then the 4 vocational sessions, we've always gone over in my write-up and my website that we'll be launching soon. It's 4 sessions for 45 minutes, but in all of my sessions thus far on the vocational series, we've always gone over. They're more like an hour and a half. So it's an incredible savings. They're $500 US for the package of 4. So it's much more cost effective if you're wanting to really step forward and create a path of vibrational leadership, your vibrational attunement, and really calling in your soul to act as a soul, to live as a soul. Those sessions are really, really powerful. And it's a great savings instead of the 90 minutes, which is 200 US. So those are the sessions. And then I offer a 15-minute channeling with light language activation and any information about styling and beauty. So those, and also many other notices of excitement that your teams want to present to you as well. So anybody that would like a 5D styling session, and we talk about health and beauty and wellness, and we tap into your teams, we talk about fashion and styling, any changes that you're going through in your life, as I do that on a part-time basis, and I absolutely love it. Everybody that Spirit sends me in my position, they're going through life transitions, and we help each other activate to a higher sense of knowing. Higher sense of style and color and fabrics and textures are so very important to activating the sensory experience and how you want to express yourself, how you want to present yourself as a version of heaven upon earth. And so all of those things are very pivotal in self-love and self-honor and self-care and self-design and self-styling. And so we're really excited to offer that. And so those are also going to be offered. So if you need any information and any wisdoms or any further notices about my classes and my offerings, I'm a creative consultant for the 5D. So please just feel free to email me. I'm helping review businesses and realigning with the grids and a higher version of our earthly human experience and light evolution. And so today we're going to talk about the galactic contracts with Earth and in the Ascension. Yay! Because as we're going through these new template vibrational shifts, every time we've just gone through a huge, massive bathing of light, which brings us up to a new dimensional experience. And based on where you are with your consciousness, every single person on this planet is at a unique vibrational consciousness level. And again, when you're doing the daily work, the daily self-care, you're allowing those energies to come forward. You're not suppressing your emotions. You're meant to feel all things that you're meant to feel. Why you have the infinite array of experiences on Earth. We are the most vast emotional beings thus far within our galaxy experience, and that creates the greatest amount of healing. That's why we are where we are. We are the farthest away in separation of Source Creator in the 3rd dimension, and it's allowing us to raise our vibration to higher levels of consciousness through love and compassion and forgiveness, the highest vibrations of our experience. The lowest vibrations of our experience are control and fear, because they block. And those are based on beliefs of separation, beliefs of greed and fear. And you'll know that, and you'll feel very discerning as you're awakening to what and how you're being controlled, to what and how you're being offered stories to surrender your voice, to surrender your uniqueness, to surrender your creativity. And then you can discern to choose not to. That in and of itself is a huge evolutionary shift for your soul plan, for your lineage, for your Akash. So be very discerning in any moment that you're co-creating or navigating or having anyone in front of you. Is this going to be a co-creative experience where there is going to be equal reciprocity, or is it going to be a story where they're wanting to suppress your creative experiences or change your creative experiences or change your creative uniqueness, your story, your voice, and your choice? Because your voice, your throat chakra is your spirit of voice. It is your spirit of the honoring of the inner child, the honoring of your creative expression, the honoring of who you are as spirit. And if it's not being honored and respected, then it's up to you to take in all of that reclaiming of your power and your light and choosing a new direction. And so we will have these great experiences to allow us to become more masterful for the greater alignment of center, for the greater alignment of what our true story is and what our true excitement is, and continually navigating through choices to continue that molding of that new reality. So your higher vibrational love for yourself will create higher vibrational choices. Who and what to have around you, who and what energies and environments inspire you, who and what energies are allowing you to nourish your gifts and your wisdoms, and not feel defensive or suppressed or dumb down or narrow down or veil down your energy vibration for another story, or feeling the guilt or suppression or depression because someone on your path is not wanting to awaken. They continue throwing projections and deflections and blame on you for where they sit. It's not your responsibility for where they sit. Their responsibility is for them, their choices and their ability to work on the inner wounding, to work on the shadow energies, jealousy, envy, greed, gluttony, and all of those experiences that have been a part of the separation agenda. And so that's each and everybody has equal skills and gifts and tools, guides and alignment with God that they can have within themselves to then break away these densities that are so very harmful on the cells, the body, the mind. And if one is not processing and integrating the light, has fast, it's not about speed or anything, but as we continue in our ascension, the oscillation of our earth will become different. It will become more unified within our galactic stories and our galactic energies, which means that, as we're going to talk about in our channeling, we're going to be offered different and unique galactic stories to harmonize and thread with. And so that's why when we're doing our channeling and our sessions, we're opening up into a whole new vibration of galactic and universal energies for you to become active in, because it's like breaking the densities in your plasma field to reach a higher level of communicatory experience with your teams and your guides and the universe in and of itself. And then how do you going to anchor it and allow it to flow through you as a creative offering? And as we've said before, in your daily work, part of that acknowledgement, acceptance, and allowance that we've written in our books, in our book number 1, we talked about the 3 A's, and we're talking about the 4 E's as the part of Ascension. And that excitement vibration of the 3 E's. So the 4th E is your excitement. That is the inner child. That is aligning with your sacred child. Aligning with your sacred child is having to heal all of those experiences where your sacred child was abused or disrespected or dishonored or subjugated or rejected or abandoned. And those are each person's responsibility, because each person comes with their own unique stories. No stories can be taken from another. No stories can be thwarted. No destinies can be thwarted and switched and taken. So anybody that is giving you those stories or telling you those stories, then they're going to be equally receiving the equal amount of karma, because those are highly spiritual laws, and there's governances and there's bodies and there's consciousness at the very highest level of the 352 dimensions in this universe, because that Akasha is linked to other universes and other Akashas. And nobody on this 3D plane in a 3D mental body has any right to touch anybody's Akash and go within and start playing with it. So those are very highly disruptive and highly charged, if you will. And we say charged in the way of laws of spiritual balance and integrity. So those that are not living within integrity and messing with birth charts and Akash records, Akash timelines or destinies, stay discerning and as far away as possible. For those are the highest spiritual laws that come with the highest spiritual karma, because they're carried as protection from the highest vibrational beings. They're a very sacred experience with you and God on all dimensions, all realms, all planets. And we're meant to remember, bring ourselves back into memory of who we are as galactic, universal, celestial beings. And it is very sacred. It is a sacred experience. It's like switching your child's story to another child's story. Nobody has that right. Nobody has the right to play God on anybody. And so be very discerning. And I would absolutely bring forward and speak your truth on anyone that has been doing so and saying so, because those truths will make sure that the awakening and the allowance of higher integrity, all practitioners and all spiritual guides and all spiritual teachers will move through ever higher levels of testing of the spiritual integrity. Are they honoring the spiritual laws of one? Are they honoring the spiritual laws of non-interference? And every practitioner, every tarot reader, every person that is practicing and offering themselves as a guide and a healer and a teacher, they will go through their own unique testing to see if they are aligning with the highest and the best and the benevolent evolutionary light programs. And so every evolutionary light program has different programs within it, and that is the changing galactic contracts that we all come with. But just know and be discerning anybody speaking of such things, and that includes any spell work to interfere with anybody else. Be very discerning, because they come again with the highest karmic immediate return, because we've been talking about this for so very long. Everybody's had enough time to change and alter their course, and redirect and understand, treat another with kindness and respect, and that will be exactly what returns. Nobody has the control or power over another or entitlement over another. And as you break those chains of karmic and timeline abuses, abuse of power, abuse of spiritual tools and gifts, you're stepping up with spirit and say enough is enough. And those beings will be dealt with in the appropriate manner, and spirit and God and their teams and guides are the only ones that distribute that. And that's why you never ever have to worry about doing spells and spells to another or calling harm to another, because spirit deals with everything. Spirit knows exactly their soul's path, their soul's journey, how old their soul is in the universe, what their soul's plan was. Their soul's plan might have been to tap into it because they had harms in another lifetime where it was taken from them. So spirit is in charge of the distribution. Why negative spell work on anybody is superfluous, and why anybody would do it would be harming themselves immediately upon doing it. So I don't practice spell work. I practice love and light, a white witch, if you will. I only practice the love and light and the healing of timelines and the healing of family traumas. And so that's my message from day one, because I have been affected negatively in the damaging and the losses that have transpired through negative spell work, and the controlling ways and the entitlement that others think they have of me, and why they think they have them of me, I don't know. It's their timelines and their Akashic stories they're not choosing to heal. But nobody owes you anything. Your life is your life to create successes, to create health and wellness and abundance. And that is the reclaiming of the Christic self, and everybody's path on the sovereign path of ascension. That's their journey. Nobody is here to fix anyone. Nobody's here to heal anyone. Specifically, if you go to a practitioner, if you go to a healer, it has to be the person that's asking for the healing. Their purity of intent will assure of any healing that's needed to take place. And because healing is a multidimensional experience, there could be many modalities that are required for anyone healing, and that's up to spirit and the person. Any healer doesn't really heal. They just offer that modality and offering of energy. The person that is choosing that healing, that's a pure will of intention to be in alignment with God for that next version of their own soul. Academia. So the academia is all that they are as a multidimensional being. Their DNA in alignment, their body in alignment, their souls in alignment, their cells are in alignment. They are in a multidimensional alignment for that next activation of thoroughness of who they are. And that person, and each person is the only one that can choose that. That's why messing around and interfering with anybody's life is a misnomer. And so be very, very discerning. Anybody speaking to you in these ways, any cult-like action of taking and corrupting and creating systems of corruption in any way to interfere with anybody in any way, those will be coming down first, and they will be rewritten by each and every person that's been involved, because each and every person is responsible for how they've chosen those choices. There are no needs for crimes. There are no needs for violence or harming or taking from another. If you understand universal law, if you understand calling in all that you are as a soul, the psychosis would never have to be separated from itself, thinking that you don't have enough, or that you are in lack, or you don't have gifts and skills. Everyone comes with the potentiality to realign with pure 100% source. Everyone. And so it's up to each to choose that of themselves if they so choose. And if they don't, then those that do choose it are going to be allowed to move on their way, and spirit will assure of it. Because the tampering and the interfering has been enough is enough. And we've said that for years now. And so we're getting on with it, and it's going to happen really quickly. So there will be immediate shifts. There will be very quick changes and shifts in the paradigms and in the realities and in the dimensional threads, because there's more and more of the collective now that are healing what's coming up. And the emotional array of what you're moving through is going to be really, really important. And so what they told me yesterday was going to help a lot of people kind of relax into the process of ascension. And it can seem quite daunting when you have a lot of dark timelines that you have to heal. You have a lot of dark childhood memories from other timelines, including this timeline, that are threaded with that same core wound. It might be abandonment, it might be sexual abuse, whatever that core wound is. You've carried it from other timelines, and so to your lineage that you're here to clear and transcend. And so when a wound comes up, whether it's someone choosing not to be with you and you feel it as rejection, then that's an inner wound of your own rejection of self. Whether you're rejecting your own sexual preference, when you're rejecting your own creativity, when you're rejecting your own sense of spiritual expression, look into how you're feeling those rejections within yourself. Because anybody that's showing you that level of saying no to you or not getting what you think you want, they're very purposeful, because that's meant to take you within and gain stronger, higher, expansive beliefs about who you are. You're never not going to be without anything, because you're one with God, and God is the garden of all that is. All is possible and with you, but not necessarily everybody's meant to be with you. Not all people want to be with you on that ride, and nor should they, because you're meant to grow and evolve with different energies, different people. But you're meant to also feel the array of what you're moving through, whether it's a loss in your family, a loss of a job, a loss of anything. You're meant to feel that loss. You're meant to feel what loss feels like. What does loss feel like? Because maybe you've had an experience where you've created a lot of loss for someone else. So you have to feel all sides of it. That is that's how you gain in mastery. That's how you understand when you're truly alchemizing. what does alchemy really mean? Well, it means if I've got access to everything in creation, the positive and the negative, I can be neutral about how I'm seeing my reality. I can shift my perspective and say, wow, okay, I guess that's a new way that I can see how can I help someone else heal what I've been through? If they've been through giving their power away to somebody that's been abusive, how can I reclaim that? How can I create a system? How can my story help someone else? Because it's helping your lineage, it's helping the other timelines, your future earths that you're going to be on. That next earth that you're going to be on, you're healing it right now. And that density for that timeline of you or your ancestors or your lineage of you has now been released. They get to open up into greater liberation and greater freedom and greater sense of self with spirit, because they're harmonizing that sense of spirit. Whatever that timeline and that earth had brought you, whether it's an earthly imprint, a social imprint, an Akashic imprint, a lineage imprint, whatever those imprints are that are visual in your life right now. Abuse of power, abuse of information, abuse of spirituality, all of those things, call them in and start sussing them out to clear. Why did I feel the need to do that? Why did I feel the need to choose that? Why did I feel the need to give that power away to somebody that doesn't even care about who I am as a spirit, as a being? So again, we're recreating the values and the morals and the integrity of who we are. And that's very evident and providence, as they just told me, because that is the part of the brain, which we're going to talk about in a couple of days on our video on absolutely everything that's being rewired right now and why the thought processes are going to be different. So we're going to go more into that about what's being offered light, how it will be affected, the Adam Eventine part. So we're going to get more in depth about the ascension experience and the physicality of our higher brain thought. It's going to be, we're going to really focus on higher functioning, a 5D functioning thought pattern and how it's being rewired and why you're feeling such heavy sleeps. And so that's okay, because I've had some people comment on some of the ascension symptoms they're going through in my private sessions. And so the galactic contracts, again, so the galactic contracts, every new phase of ascension that you're moving on as you're clearing and healing and accepting, acknowledging, and allowing, the 3 A's, moving into the 3 E's through your 4th E, which is your excitement, and everything has been written about in our books. And if you want private sessions with me, my email is below. The process of ascension is a process, and it allows you to truly understand you're being an evolutionary being of light. You're being the eternal being of God, which is what Jesus always talked about, all masters have talked about, that you have eternal light that you can bathe in and work with and be within, and the Alliance of Light, which is the name of our 4th book. And in this alliance with light, that is all that is really required to maintain, to sustain, to receive, and to be in part with any experience that you choose across any dimensions, all realms, all threads. As we become more higher vibrational, we're going to have higher vibrational thought functionings. The brain is shifting and changing, which will give us new perspectives on any disorders and diseases that were contained within what we thought to be mental disorders and behavioral disorders. So that's going to go into a whole new realm. So in the next 15 years, we're going to see a high access to multidimensional resolve and healing on what we thought to be disorders and disease of the brain, because we'll be healing a lot, giving it new understandings, higher vibrational accountability, and healing it at the core so that it won't become a disability or a disorder. So that's really, really exciting. And so as we're moving into these new templates, as we've been seeing in my own experience, we're calling in, because you've healed those 3D contracts and you've healed through the 4D experience. And now as you're operating as a soul, as this beautiful Merkaba, your Merkaba is now having touch points, and it wants to, because and this is why we've always said and why you can release it. If you understand universal energy, if you understand the grand design of all that is, there's creators on all dimensions and all universes that have the highest form of impact and rightability of energy with Mother and Father God on the becoming of our planet and our collective, because it's galactic ascension, it's universal ascension, it's multiverse ascension, as we've continued to talk about. And so as we're going through this multiverse experience, you're becoming a soul, you're calling in those soul fragments for healing, those soul experiences for healing. The psychosis is what you resist, is what you break from, because you can't perceive that it is you. And even those most challenging experiences, that's a part of the soul fragment that's needing to be harmonized and called in as a part of you. So that's why psychosis really breaks. Psychosis wants to fit it back in those old stories of the mental pattern, the mental programming, but it's no longer there anymore. That story is not there anymore. Those people are not there anymore. It's an illusion. But the mental pattern wants to keep running that story because it's all it knows. It's stuck in fear because it hasn't healed those stories of loss or separation or letting go. And so that's why the multidimensional healing is so powerful for somebody that continues to run karmic programs, continue to run karmic cycles, and wanting that same mental story to appear and those people to be in those same characters. When people change and those characters in the story change, many of you that will be going through this and you have people or karmic partners that want you to keep playing old karmic stories, there will be that break in psychosis if you choose to walk away into greater light because you just feel vibrationally, mentally, physically, emotionally, you just don't fit. You cannot fit your grandness of your spirit into a 3D limited story and character anymore. And so that's where the working out and the smoothing out and the healing out of these differentiations and variances of dimensional vibrational stories. It doesn't mean that everybody that's working on these variances of dimensions have to separate and say goodbye forever. But there does have to be the unique environment and the gifts and the skills and the nurturance vibrationally so that everybody is going to be equally given and receiving in their highest vibrational needs. Because a fifth dimensional being and person cannot receive equally intelligently from a 3D person that's still working on their control issues. There is a big mismatch. And I've had many clients that we've healed the process through understanding that you have to give yourself permission to let go. You have to give yourself permission first to write yourself out of that story. You have to release the guilt that you might feel for being responsible for somebody else's healing, and you're not. You're not responsible for how they see you as a character. That's their role. Their perspectives of you come from their level of consciousness. Remember, perspective is how you are conscious at your own awareness of yourself within yourself. Who am I? What do I exist within, and what exists within me? That's consciousness. And everybody is at a unique consciousness level. That's why a 3D astronomer will not see what a 5D astronomer will, because the consciousness level is completely different. This 5D consciousness will see something far different in the sky than this version of consciousness will. And that's very purposeful. It's all well and good. There's no judgment. It's all purposeful, meant to be. But the needs and the wants and the receiving and the access to feeling reciprocation are going to be entirely different when your vibrational contracts are now shifting you in different directions. So everybody's going to have to take more soulful, innate, co-creational, vibrational accountability for who they are, and are they happy? Am I happy with what I'm sitting in? And I'm being nourished? Am I being fed? Is it a reciprocation that is balanced? One person wants to grow and the other one perhaps wants to stay fixed in their story. That's okay. And God says that's okay too. But there will be those shifts where spirit will ask you, if you're not expanding in your light, and if you're not feeling yourself reach out, then you're not doing your justice to your soul, and you're not being of service to your soul. If you want liberation, but you feel stuck to a story, you're not giving yourself liberation as your soul. You're not doing your soul justice, and you're compromising your light, your energy, your potentials, your gifts, and your skills. And you very well could be earning karma as you hold yourself back, because evolution is of the highest importance, period. Consciousness is of the highest level of importance, period. Your path with God is your highest level of importance, period. Nobody else should be taking anybody's place as God, period. Nobody writes as God, period. God absolutely understands all universes, all programs, all aspects of life, every insect in our earth, every insect above our earth, period. And so when you surrender to that higher self, knowing the higher self that is you now becoming more and more you at your heart level, because you're healing all those soul fragments of the higher self, then you're becoming more in alignment of your higher self, and you're living as your higher self in this now moment. Because everything that was in the past as a linear experience, because all the stories were linear, well, we did that, and that experience wasn't that fun. You're bringing back those that are stuck in those experiences. You will see them talk about what was. You'll see them try and grasp the linearity of, well, don't you remember that? Don't you remember that? They're trying to take you back to that emotional experience so that you go back to that story with them. And you say, that's not there anymore. Those were great emotional experiences, but I'm over here now. And so be okay to speak your truth and stand in where your stories are now becoming. Because remember, you create your reality through your beliefs and your perspectives. Your perspectives are going to be different because your consciousness levels are different. So be okay to state your consciousness level and have them be okay, and be okay to let things go so that each can liberate themselves at their own unique pacing, because everybody is at a different pacing, temperament, and value perspective of who they think they are and what exists within them. And that's up to each individual to go within and do the inner work. Who am I with God? The more oneness you are with God, the more higher perspective you have. That higher perspective says there's no loss involved, because you just see them on different levels and different versions, and different bodies and different faces. You might align with a higher version of this very same person, and this person will continue to have a lower version vibrational experience with you in their own unique way. But your focus won't be in that version, because it would lower your vibration too much. You would shift yourself off into another vibration, and they can have that lower vibrational experience with another person. And so all of those, it's hard to understand. It will become more and more complex, more and more mind-bending as we raise our consciousness to understand what really vibration and alignment and vibrational threads are, and bilocation is, and all of those things that we have the potential to do. And so that's coming. But just understand that you're going to be going through these relationship experiences, as well as what you're going to be moving through as you're aligning greater galactic energies to your jobs, your everyday experience. Because what we're having to redefine, and they told me, what's coming for us as a collective, and each and every individual will be going through their own selective experiences. What does stability mean for me? What does a family mean for me? What does my own home mean for me? Because those of you that are on the leading edge and are teachers and healers and leaders, you're going to be called to move around the planet for activations in many different ways, to have your light being used and activated in many different ways, and to help the planet in many different ways. And it has a higher vibrational intention and purpose. And that's between you and God, and the galaxies and the planets and the beings that you work with. And so we can talk about that in the sessions, in our private sessions, and then again, realign it to your vocational alignment. But what that does, though, is it allows you to look at, well, what I thought was a 3D experience of stability is not what I want anymore. I don't want to be tied down to a mortgage. I don't want to be tied down to a house. You can have those discussions and experiences with your partners or with the people that you're in those experiences with, and really have those comfortable, profound, brave conversations. This is how I'm feeling. I want to experience my light in different ways because I'm being called to serve in a different way. I'm being called to be myself in a different way. And you have that spiritual right. Even in our court of law, the highest honor that one has is their own spiritual rights and their human rights. And so you can absolutely understand and start seeking into the understanding of your spiritual rights. Your spiritual rights are upheld as the highest order of law throughout the entire universe. If you have a spiritual right to go and seek healing and to be a healer of the planet, be a healer of the collective, that is your highest spiritual right. And you have that right, and you will be backed by the universe. And you can have those open, responsible conversations so that it's fair for everybody, so that everybody has a win-win experience. And that's what we're meant to create, that higher resolve, higher vibrational unity, that all can be coexisting in a certain manner, but it can be done in a more higher, responsible, mature way, so that everybody is allowed their liberation and freedom, which is our sovereignty, which is our birthright. And again, it is our highest spiritual birthright to be liberated and free and sovereign with our spirit and our own spiritual path. It has nothing to do with religion. Religion boxes us in and allows us to be defined and explained and all of those things that we're not. They were good for 3D and how we defined our reality in linear ways of past, present, and future, and ancient tablets and ancient sacred texts and so on and so on and so on. But again, they were only done from a 3D perspective, from a 3D person. Most of them were often men. And so now we're revising it. Who are we as liberated spirit? We're able to traverse the entire universe and galaxies and multiverse. Why would we ever want to stay limited? When you know that you're light, why would you want to stay limited? And it's okay if you choose limitation, because there's fears involved with that. And you got to work through those fears. So face them, be brave. So what they showed me yesterday is that now we're reaching this 5D experience, and we're reaching our galactic bedding. When you absolutely know that you have a light ship, why would your light ship just stay in one playground? So now that your body is being refined to a 5D experience, why would you just want to stay in one home? And part of my experience that I've been going through is that there's been a collective of beings that didn't want me to be seen by the collective, because the collective would know about the value and the teachings of what I've been offering. And they would have the energy of self-sovereignty as opposed to the energy of being controlled. And there was bringing a lot of fear to those that are working fear programs, that are benefiting from fear and control programs. And part of that was the psychosis and the timelines and the experiences from those that didn't want me to be seen by the collective. They didn't want me to have other people in my life, because then it would take away from what they're getting and what they're taking and what they're receiving. So they were making all the money off of me, and they were making all the intentions off of me, and using my light and harvesting my light and harvesting whatever they were harvesting from me. And yet I was making nothing and living in poverty and not allowed to see or do anything. But I was just kind of like a vibrational slave. And those come from other timelines and other planets of enslavement. They absolutely do. From the Orion to the early Maldek, all of those are enslavement programs that each and every person has to go within at whatever point their systems are breaking, to say, why did I choose control? Why would I ever want to hold somebody back? Why would I? And a divine soulmate and a divine partnership would never ever do that to one another. Those are usually experiences of karmic experiences, because they've played, very heavy karmic experiences of control, enslavement, abuse. And so those have to be healed. And so part of those experiences of enslavement were part of the breaking of the entire divine feminine collective enslavement, where our voices and our teachings and our offerings and our healings and everything that we've been for thousands and thousands of years have been completely written out of the creational story. So now it's breaking free, and the divine masculines are stepping back to be healed, and the divine feminines are stepping up to begin these higher vibrational intuitive systems that are now going to be the forefront of designing a new creational story where all beings and all voices and all experiences are heard and known. And we have to each go through our touch points of how we're being activated in new ways. And a lot of it comes from our galactic stories that we're now being activated, because it's now a fifth dimensional galactic activation, because we've healed a lot of those 3D stories in our soul's paradigm. So as you heal the paradigms, as you heal the wounds, as you heal these experiences, you get to experience something new. And so just to give you a quick experience of what I've done. So the earth is changing dramatically, because this is going to consist of, and they gave me a quick, just doing some clearing. Thank you, Holy Spirit. With these new ascension experiences, my hair wants to be involved. 5D styling sessions. The earth is going through a toggle right now, and they showed me 3 degrees. And so this toggle, and they showed me it kind of went to the left. And so I don't know what that means, but that's what they showed me. And so it went 3 degrees to the left. And it's kind of a toroidal toggle. And it's not the toggle that we're used to. Why? Those of us that have been on the path of awakening for a while, the ascension symptoms that we're feeling and sensing will be talked about more in a couple of days in our webinar, but that affect the part of our communicatory systems, which I told you earlier in our videos, that are going to be shifting and changing, and why we're going to be rewiring to those higher vibrational resolve functioning systems that will have us communicating in different ways in a higher vibration. Because when we're moving through these vibrational shifts, remember the constructs reality that we talked about in that video, reality constructs are based on those that are within that vibrational reality. So we're going to say this is more of a 3D reality, that's more of a 5D, and there's no judgment or quantitative or qualitative. I'm just giving them as the example of consciousness, and it's understanding, because when you understand this, you can let go of the push and pull of those that are behaving from wounding. That's okay. That's where they're at. They need to be there. They need to feel that wounding to heal it. It's okay to feel the emotions and the palette of the emotions. You're meant to feel grief. You're meant to feel loss. You're just not meant to get stuck there and stay there. That's what the 3D paradigms of the mental matrix was about. Can you break free from the matrix of being controlled, of being subjugated, of being suppressed, of being depressed? And those are the mental programs, the mental barriers that can be broken. They're just codes, they're just stories, and you can choose to let them go. So these constructs are the number of beings in that construct that support that belief. So that belief might say that we need virus injections, whatever it might be, the vaccines. That construct of that reality will be those in that reality belief. So now that you understand that, wow, I'm in full control of my health, I can change the constitutions of anything going in my body. I can have it be a vitamin B shot if I wanted to. I can call in my highest vibrational healing teams and they'll change the constitution, whatever's in that vial. We can do that. And it can be of service to the body. It can be of service to the health. It can be of service to the DNA. It can be of service to who we are, because we're creating that reality. So the constructs are the beliefs and the perspectives held within that, and how many within that construct have done the healing and are intending to do the healing, and all play an equal part. So if you're in an environment where nobody's doing the work and nobody's taking accountability, and everybody is in that narcissistic, dysfunctional experience where it's blame and shame and suppressive, and you're taking energies and resources from other people, that's a very corrupt system. And that will absolutely inevitably corrupt in and of itself. It will implode in itself because it doesn't have anywhere to go. That's why those that are of the light, they tend to move off and break away, because they need to keep that evolving experience, and the threaded pearl will assist those that truly want to evolve in themselves and in creation, not just go where it might seem easy, because you're not going to be able to exist within this light if you have not done the work. And again, why understanding timeline jumping, understanding universal energy, understanding universal laws, understanding who you are as a multidimensional being, you're never just going to jump to a timeline where you can't process the light. You would have disassociation and psychosis right away. So it's understanding who you are as a multidimensional being, and not just frivolously thinking for greed and ego's sake and arrogance sake that, oh, I'm going to jump to that timeline where there's no karma. No, you will absolutely feel karma, and that karma will be disassociation and mental psychosis, because you can't process the light that's there. You haven't done the healing to clear away the density. That healing has to live. All that light has to live through all your chakras. And if you're not calling it through your chakras and healing the density in those chakras because of the wounds multidimensionally, then you cannot take on that light. You cannot process it. The higher resolve will not process it. Your brain is still processing 3D experiences on a 5D light pattern. It cannot do it, doesn't understand. That's why those of you that have come forward in private sessions, the main concern is the difference and the variance in how you're communicating with 3D and 5D, because you're now entering into a 5D experience. How can we create unity and symbiosis and building that bridge so that everybody creates a win-win and nobody's trying to pull and take from either side? There doesn't have to be, because when you understand you're creating your own light, you're feeding yourself and you're nourishing yourself, you don't need anything outside of you. Corruption is not necessary, crime is not necessary, and harm to another is not necessary. It's understanding the chemistry and the physics of universe and why we are universal beings, the micro macro. And as you do, wow, life just moves smoothly for you, and God's putting everything right before you. It has nothing to do with religion. And so understanding who you are as a multidimensional being will be paramount for everybody if they so choose. They don't have to. There's no right way. I've just created tools from what I went through. It's not the way. It's not the right way. I'm giving for those that are new to awakening, that don't understand energy, that aren't understanding themselves as a multidimensional being, what they exist within, that have started to have these beautiful experiences. But how do I go through the process of going to that next level of really clearing those healings, really clearing those beliefs that hold me back? I've created some tools. It's not the only way, but they're really great tools. They're really great books. It helps you understand who you are. It helps you understand why you manifest what you manifest, why you call in what you call in, why you're having dreams about celestials, why you're having that wound that came up from when you were 5 that you forgot about. There's a reason. There's always a grander reason. And that grander reason is every time those constructs of reality are breaking away, they're not there anymore, because everybody that was in those constructs are now wanting to be healed. I don't want that reality anymore. I don't want to be controlled. I don't want to be told who I am and what I do. I don't want to be taken from every minute when I'm doing all the work. I'm going to go over here and create my own reality. And why you have to leave those stagnant, dark environments. When there's people doing a lot of spell work, that spell work and those entities are in that house. And that's why the spell work affects everybody. It affects the children, it affects the animals, it affects the plants. Why the plants around the house would be dying, while the plants around the neighborhood would be dying. Everything affects everything. And so proof is life itself. Is it being nourished? Is the garden bearing good fruit? As the ancient text said, are you bearing great fruit? If there's sickness and illness and psychosis and imbalances and disorders and disease, is it bearing good fruit? Are you bearing good fruit? And that is each person's choice to go within. Am I bearing good fruit? How can I go in and love myself a little bit more? It's always back to self-love, self-value, self-honor. What's your story? Who are you? Know thyself. And so these constructs are going to be noticed. So be okay with it. Just notice it. I acknowledge it. That's part of Ascension. I accept it. Wow, this is really great. I get to make something new. How can I build a bridge? Well, I'm feeling I want to travel a bit more. I'm feeling I want to be on the earth a bit more. I'm gonna be receiving these downloads from other beings and other galaxies and other star systems, because I really want to make a new system for Earth. Because I see I'm now on 5D Earth and I want to start creating a new system. So I'm going to go this way. I'm going to meet up with some new people. I'm going to meet up and I'm going to expand in different ways. I'm going to meet up with you in a week and just maybe have a contract. Let's meet up in 1 week. You go your way, I go mine, and I'll see you in a week. So that they have their time and space and their temperament to do their own ascension pacing, and they can understand their life in their own unique way. It doesn't mean anything about judgment to anybody. There's no race. It's never a race. But there are going to be vibrational experiences that you have to continue to maintain and sustain so that your vibrational bodies can continue to move and evolve, because you're a code breaker. You're one of the ones that's the maverick breaking the density for those that are coming up behind you, the threaded pearl. And again, there is no judgment on any of it. There are those that have been contracted to create higher vibrational systems for humanity. And those will be the ones that will continue to be pressured to get busy, get moving, get on. Because there's codes. This is the multiverse. And each multiverse is through their own toroidal. They're being fed information and codes of evolution from the previous we'll say vibrational, because every universe has a different vibrational dimension to it. And within that universe has infinite vibrations of dimensions of threading of life within each. It's a micro macro. And so there's toroidal experiences that God feeds the energies up, God feeds the energy out, God's in between all life. God is not separate from any of it. God said, okay, it's time for Earth to be brought into the galaxy bedding in a different way. The toggles are created. The universal solar flares are different because the solar flares are directly related to the beautiful life force that God is creating and bathing us in new light programs. That's what the solar flares are. They're high vibrational evolutionary codes that help humanity evolve and help life and help sustain life in all ways. And that's breaking density. That's breaking the codes of thought forms and thought patterns and imprints in our social collective that are high vibrational, cannot and will not ever be stopped in any of those programs and those that want want to create the dark and dense programs to keep humanity controlled and sway the energy of the humanity. Everybody is now awakening to create and reclaim their voice and reclaim their choice, and know that we're creating the liberation and the sovereignty of our 5D Earth. And there will be breaking off of those that continually want to play in the controlled programs into a different vibrational Earth experience. And it's all very well and good, and it's all grand and divine. God is in charge of all of that. And while you will see people just leaving your experience in various ways that they choose at a soul level to leave their experience, because they're meant to go play in other realms and other ways for their own soul's growth, there is always a grander plan and design. And while you're meant to feel what you're meant to feel, be okay with it, but don't get stuck there. You know that infinite life is infinite life. You're going to be on another planet in another realm, working with them in a different way. They might just have a different face and a different package, different body. So know that life is infinite. You have no idea how infinite we are. We are infinite beings of life. And if you're meant to work and be with somebody in a different manner, you will, just in a different way, in a different body. And so just know that we can release a lot of the fear and worry. Oh, am I going to be with them? I feel responsible or guilty leaving them behind. You're not leaving them behind. They have their temperament and pacing of where they need to be because of their own soul's growth and their own soul's choices. They had those choices for a reason, so honor it. Respect it. You don't want to hold them back by holding your space there. Your space is meant to keep creating a new momentum, a new beginnings, and new carving of the 5D space. So in this carving of the 5D space, those creational realities are becoming very different now. We can all see the breakages of old systems. We're meant to rewrite them, so be celebratory, embrace it. So again, anything that is before you, shift the perspective, that toggle, shift the perspective, and how can I create something new? That momentum is before you for a reason. There's great profundity in that divine relationship, as Mother showed me. The very center of that Vesica Pisces, the very center is where that divine relationship occurs. There is the all, there is the positive and the negative and how you create. So that duality is needed. That separation on earth was needed. The wars were needed for us to say, do we really want war? What are the values we have of life if we're blowing people up? What are the values of life if there's shotguns even in our collective? Why is that a thing? Why is it a thing that we have video games for kids that show people blowing up, and that's a thing? Why is that a thing? Are we evolutionary, higher intelligent beings? There is a positive and negative to all things, but if we remain neutral and say, well, how can we shift this? How can we create something new that's really exciting? Can we go back to the values and the integrity of who we are as spirit and expand? Again, if you had a light ship, why would you stay in a violent game where people are being blown up? Wouldn't you want to explore the universe? Wouldn't you want to explore what's out there? Wouldn't you want to see Earth in a deeper, wider, more intimate way? The biosphere and the intelligence of Earth is profound, and it's getting more and more profound as we're hitting these new templates of consciousness, because the higher vibrational galactic experiences that we're all having new contracts, these new 5D contracts, these 5D contracts are coming from the various galactic centers, from the main source center of again, God, Mother, Father, God, the solar centers, if you will. They're being reprogrammed. And so why those of us that are conduits and channels and intuitives are going to feel completely different in our communicatory systems, because where I'm seeing now, as by evidence, again, life is your own evidence, life is your own proof. I'm seeing now that many of these celestial downloads are coming to me in different ways that I just simply don't have words for. So I'm really having to struggle to find words. And because the rewiring systems are changing, those of us that are conduits and channels are finding really profound ways that we're having to negotiate, communicating, and why more and more will be codes and vibration. So know that we're going to be doing more sounds and tones and all of those different things in our classes, in our offerings, because it activates immediately. It bypasses the words and the linearity of words that we have. But there's much more going on multidimensionally that is beyond the vibration of a word. Vibrations of words are very powerful, and why all thoughts, forms, and words and deeds are benevolent and malevolent. Everything affects everything. And just understanding energy, understanding there is a grand design, and there will be no further thwarting of systems and birth charts and akashas and destinies and all that kind of stuff. Ridiculous. And those were just the residues of those other timelines and other realms where we had to reclaim our voice, reclaim our choice. When you see and you're experiencing something that is not okay, you need to bring it forward and speak of it. It's not okay. It's not okay that those experiences were occurring. And regardless of how long it takes, reclaim that story and rewrite it so that you're not a victim of it. And you're saying, no, I'm reclaiming my voice and I'm going to create new systems. So be the version of you that is now the creator and the maverick to modify old systems, to bring light to new systems, to bring inspiration and ignition, because we saw the damage of what occurred through control. I mean, how much damage was caused just in my one earthly story? How much tower moments were created out of a group of people that wanted to have access and control and want me to stop doing what I'm doing because it affected their stories of limitation abuse of power, abuse of their gifts. The false prophets wanting to take and take and take and make money off of it, while those of us really doing the work were feeling as if we had carrying and pulling a train behind us. That's how heavy the energy is. And so those stories and those timelines have to be released, and Spirit will help you release those timelines, because I know many of you in our client sessions, many of you are feeling as if you're carrying so much weight. So you can choose to release that in permissions. I give myself permission to release all burdens that are not mine. I'm releasing these karmic stories of abuse, and those that are hanging on and clutching on, they know enough now to go within and seek their own light. There's enough wisdom and knowledge out there to seek your own light. You moving in your own excited, exuberant way, remember, all that you have to know that you're doing something right and good for you so that your karma is continually being cleared is acting within your personal, unique expression, excitement, and exploration and experience of you. The 4 E's. You always know that you will be clearing your karma and maintaining positive direction if you are constantly aligned at your heart space, creating that return of excitement to your exploration, your experience, and your expression of the exploration and experience of who you are. That excitement is the sacred child. That is the return of the Christ. Has nothing to do with religion. So in a nutshell, I've explained to you on every one of our videos what Ascension is. There are processes of alchemy, and you are the only one that claims that with you and God. And why you are the only one that can, when you absolutely know who you are standing in your truth, and it's powerful. And it will trigger those that aren't standing in your truth. So be okay with that. Be okay with how they behave. Be okay with how they're moving through their wounds, and just return it back to them. Return back the deflections and the projections and the guilt that they might throw at you because you're not coming back and playing in their games and in their dimensions and their stories. Send it back to them. Say, that's okay. That's where you're at right now. But if you clear it and if you move through it and if you do your journaling and if you channel it and if you go with it and you release those energies and those stories and you heal those wounds, then you're going to know that I'm not the problem. I'm showing you there's another way. I'm showing you that you can have light. You can be of light. You can be true in your story. You can be firm in your story. You can speak your truth. You can be a leader of yourself. You can know that there's other realities that we can create, but you have to get there on your own, in your own way. I'm just showing you that that is the light that is possible and why it triggers those that are not in that light, because they're still living in all those old stories, those old vibrations, those old imprints, those old wounds that need to be healed. And why there is, again, no need for violence or crime in our collective, because those are emotional outbreaks, and those are emotional experiences that don't have to occur if you're healing and directing that energy in a positive and loving and constructive way. How can you transmute that energy to have it serve you? That's what the Ascension healing, multidimensional healing will be about, because we're multidimensional, higher vibrational beings, and some of those wounds are very dark. And so they've got to be cleared and healed and purged. But everybody can do it. Everybody can. Everything is healable. And so these new earth contracts, as the earth is being upgraded and the solar flares and the consciousness of collective, we're going to see a huge increase of mass awakenings in the next 3 months. Really waking up. And again, that will affect, again, what you know as stability. You're going to be asking yourself these questions. So self-direction and self-observation and self-reflection. What do I know as stability? Maybe I can simplify my life. Maybe stability isn't what I thought it was. Maybe I can create something different. Communal living will be more and more of an opportunity that people will want, because it'll give them more freedom to move about the earth. It'll give them more freedom to have the life that they so want, to express themselves as spirit, to live as spirits. Again, if you had a light ship, which your body is, if you have a light ship, why would you stay in one house, never to be seen and heard from? Again, those are control issues and enslavement issues that everybody on our collective is healing. And so discern where you are in that story and why you would want to ever put anybody in a controlled experience. That's very, very damaging on every level, emotional and mental abuse. And so again, the spiritual laws will always prevail. So just know who you are in a choosing and of free will of your own self, because thy will be done, and thy will is the will of God, to have exploration and infinite evolutionary progress. Our progress of evolution affects everybody in the multiverse. Make no mistake about that. And that's what I've always said in the micro macro. And so the earth is getting these solar flares and these imprints and these bathings. And so these contracts of who we are and the oversoul of who we are changing and shifting. You're getting new sets of guides. You're getting new sets of masters, the mastery systems of the evolution, because the masters are all working in the higher realms. So as we're pushing up in our experience, like we said, like we had an experience yesterday where the breakthrough of the client that I was working with, we went up into the 13th dimension, into some of the chakra energies that she was able to pull from. And so as we're reaching up for those energetic calling of the codes from the heaven, calling of those energies and breaking those veils, so too are the ones in the higher vibrational energies, and they're reaching up, and they're reaching up 13th and 14th dimensions. So again, the infinite dimensions that we have, the 352 chakras, 352 dimensions, it's infinite. So it's an infinite, eternal process of evolution. We're in charge of our bodies, we're in charge of our minds, we're in charge of our spirits, we're in charge of our souls. And we can call all of that in for the infinite now help. Can you please help me transcend this? I don't know how I got to where I got to, but I really want to get back in alignment. And your team and your higher self is constantly giving you things to realign yourself. That it's, are you listening? Are you stuck in an ego story of what you think you need or have to be seen as? What stories are you thinking you're having to measure up to? Because that's an illusion. That's a 3D earth story that's not there anymore. So now you get to rewrite it. So how can your story help another? And so you're given the oversoul exchange, which will be a higher vibrational resolve, and that will affect everything, because those animate antiparticles, when they activate, they move up your system of light and they activate everything in a cascading experience. And it's a cascading multidimensional experience. It goes far wider, and we're going to talk about more of that in a couple of days, because again, there's words that we don't have. There's things that are occurring on a multidimensional experience that we don't have words for, micro, macro. And those of you that continue to train yourself in higher conscious ways will feel the mother, father of the central access points, and how they're delivering new codes and new stories for the various galactic partners, anchoring those new informations to Earth. So for example, this new vibration in a client that I was working with, part of her new 5D experience, she now healed those 3 contracts, say of Orion and Maldak. But now she's offering herself to the Antares collection. And so those Antares collective wanted to start giving her what they were working on in their evolutionary programs, because there will be beings of a higher vibrational DNA from Antares on our Earth. So she's preparing the Earth with her Antares codes of what they're going to be downloading and speaking with her. The Antares collective, the Antares collective are working with the Pleiades, because, excuse me, their vibrational downloads are being translated through the Pleiades. So that's how I know the Antares. I've been working with them for a couple of years, and it is a different vibration. And that's why they work with the Pleiades, because they're now being called in. Again, it's micro macro. They're being called in from their galaxy. They want to be a part of Earth's ascension. And they have many of us as ancestors. We're ancestors to the Antares. They're ancestors to us. Again, it's micro macro. So whatever they're going through in their expansive planetary healing, God says, okay, well, let's create a program and let's create some downloads for Earth. So God's experience and God's desire, nobody can really say, because God is God, but I'm just giving it to you as an example. God is pleasantly and in joy and exuberation for expansion of all life, for the unity of all life, for the remembrance and the unification of all life, the return to source. So if Antares was never really known to Earth and this part of our galaxy and being a part of those evolutionary programs, God would say, okay, well, let's create a program. You can be involved in Earth. They've got lots of great things going on here. And there's lots of those that are now vibrationally aligned to channel that information, although we might need an interpreter along the way. So the Pleiades are stepping in as an interpreter, because their vibration is a little bit different, but we're going to anchor it here because it's a new program that we want to evolve within, because they're actively aligned with some of the evolutionary themes that have been holding us back on the earthly level. And so that's why your vibrational galactic contracts will be changing, and there will be new energies, and there will be new contracts, and there will be new themes, because again, we're expanding out into a new galactic bedding, and that galactic bedding will offer new codes, will offer new remembrances, will now offer new experiences of the remembrance of who we are, celestials. So again, that will be part and parcel in micro macro in that. So I'm going to give you a quick little channel, because I do have somewhere to go. And so again, our galactic contracts will be changing. And again, the vibrational constructs are unique to each vibrational dimension. Everybody has unique pacing, temperament, and alignment as to how they're processing light, how they're integrating light. And really, you don't have to worry about a big, program, or how am I going to do it's not complex at all. Just allowance every day. Allow yourself to feel what you need to feel, and then start realigning yourself to a higher vibrational you. I don't want to be controlled. I'm not going to be told what to do. I'm not going to be told who I am. I'm not revising my story to anybody. My story is my story, and me and God work on it, period. I'm not going to be told by anybody who I am and what my business should look like. And I'll just offer a quick little thing. I don't have a boss. I've never had a boss. I don't have any work partners. I've never had any work partners. I've been celibate for 12 years plus. I don't intend on having any partners at this time. I'm quite happy being on my own because I have exploration with God. That is my most important priority. I'm quite married within myself, married within God. I have no desire, and I'm not seeking, and I'm not going out looking for a superficial 3D experience. I don't have any partners in my life that I exchange my life force with. I never did, and I never will. I've been completely focusing on realigning and refining and clearing out my past experience through the very challenging divorce experience that has been nothing but delays and games by those that have had their hands in the thinking that they have ownership of my life and how my life is unfolding. And so clearing that up and cleansing that out before I connect with any experience on a partnership level, because that's just the version of me that I'm experiencing. And it's just allowing, I understand energy. So I'm not going to be placing my energy with anyone until my life is cleansed and cleared of the divorce experience. And it doesn't have to be lengthy in process, and Spirit will assure that things will get cleared out, because there's been people having their play at things for their own selfish designs and reasons. And it's not fair to all parties involved, including, extended families that have been involved in this, because it's been a very traumatic experience for me. And so things are healing and things are moving on. But I've had no boss, I've had no partner. Nobody has contributed to my work. It has been me and God and me and my channeled material. And I create, as you see every day, books and things that I create within, and I write and I do diagrams in different books. That's how I create my work with Spirit. I'm aligned with Spirit. That is my motivation. That is who I am as Spirit. I'm becoming more of a soul. How I know what I know is my evolution as a soul. I've been here many times. I'm from other universes. I am a celestial being in human form. I know who I am. I know what my story is, and I won't be thwarted. I'm not going to agree to lesser programs. I'm not going to agree to lesser contracts. I'm not going to sign up for somebody else's program because they think they might have a shiny tool for me so that they can sit and take and sponge and siphon off my ideas and my light and call it their own and be a part of that title and have their acclaim on it. I know who I am, and I know the beings that have been following me and tracking me. So enough is enough. I know who I am. I know what my story is, and it has been unchanging since the entire time that I've been on this 16-year process and all other lifetimes that have been heretofore. And so whatever has been said and proclaimed, and how anybody might know me or not know me in any other story, they don't know me at all. My circle is none. My circle is God and I. And I have friends that I work with on an intimate level, and they are of one or two or three. Otherwise, nobody else knows me. Nobody else has any right to say anything about me. They just don't. They don't know me at all. So that's who I am. That's who I am. I am Joanna. I am a celestial being in human form, and I know who I am. I know what I offer. I'm a great conduit. I am a healer, and I am a teacher, and I know who I am. I've written 3 books. I do a lot of creational material for humanity. I'm a part-time stylist. I know who I am. I understand energy. I understand bringing divine feminine back to life. I understand realigning and inspiring and igniting and empowering all beings to create the highest sovereignty within who they are, to reclaim your voice and be surrendering to none. You don't need anyone. Be reliant on none. Create success and align with your greatness in unto yourself. Period. That's who I am, and I'm aligned with God. And I will not silence, and I will not stand down. Thank you. That's who I am. I'm a teacher and I'm a healer. And so here's the channeled material. And you can get as frustrated. This has been 8 years. 8 years of saying the same thing. And you can kind of get why at times I'm frustrated. 8 years. 8 years of saying the same thing, and people are still trying to poke and pull and take. Like, enough people. Go within and heal yourself. It's really very simple. Go within and heal. Crime is not necessary. Taking and harming another is not necessary, whether you do it vibrationally or any other way. Their spells are harming. You don't need to do a spell to receive anything. You just don't. If you understand energy and the universal laws, you simply don't. And I honor you for your expression. I honor you for your experience. It's been a great, really soul ride. But nothing from my past will be a part of my future. Those stories are done. Alchemize the wounding, alchemize the healing, understand why you chose what you chose, and be on your way. Spirit will assure of it. So there will be paradigm shifts, galactic shifts, and there will be toggling. And there will be great multidimensional creations from each and everybody, individual stories, because you're meant to bring your story forward to help heal others, as I have, and as I've been devoted to unconditional sharing of my story, to assist others that are going through imbalanced relationships, imbalanced work experiences, imbalanced systematic depressive and suppressive controlled fear-based systems. Each and every one of us are going to be absolutely excited and embracing to rewrite all systems within humanity. And when you become more aligned in your own light, you become more confident and more firm in your words. And that's why the personality of me is changing. And those that know the old personality of me, where I was okay with people taking me, I didn't understand why they were taking me. I was kind of naive. And now I'm standing in my truth saying, no, I absolutely see a lie before it even hits me. So go, out you go. And that energy will be sent away before it even gets to me. My ancestors by the thousands are standing by. And I stand in that because I know God more better and higher than I did before. So yeah, I know myself. My personality is changing. And I'm going to soften into a new version of me. But right now, this experience of me is at the tail end of something that's been unnecessarily delayed and traumatic, unnecessarily on all levels. All of it was unnecessary. All that I went through was unnecessary. I learned a lot, and I've brought a lot forward, and I've brought a lot of healing tools. But the pain and the depths of suffering that I've gone through was unnecessary. Just because people wanted to play selfish games. That to me was unnecessary. I don't understand any of that. I get it for the healing practice of it and how it's healed other timelines. And I get the whole soul advancement and I get that perspective of it. But how it harmed me and the depths of how it harmed me, that I don't understand. Because how people treat people, I don't get that. It doesn't make sense to me how people treat people. And they laugh about it and they joke about it. And it's like a game. That is the absolute disconnect of empathy and compassion and who we are as sacred beings. And that's what I'm here to reconnect. And allow yourself compassion and honor and speak up and speak your spirited truth and your Christic truth. When you see someone that's hurting somebody or harming someone in any way, whether it's an animal or an insect or anything, then be the advocate of it. Because at least you can walk away knowing I was an advocate for peace. I was an advocate for what is higher truth, because I do bring the higher truths of the heaven. That's my messenger. I am a messenger. That is my message. I know higher truth and I'm aligned with it. And spirit will support that. And so too it will be seen. I am a messenger from many timelines, many galaxies, many universes. I know who I am. I know myself. Paradigm remembrances and more of higher vibrations of inception of unity. So there'll be higher and higher inceptions of unity, bringing in those higher galactic programs, gathering creator design inspirations. And so this was their channeled message. We are seeding you with great light as you are to your planet. And remember, as you are moving through your earthly experiences in unity and healing the division, I gotta get this so I can see it. Where is it? Healing. As you are healing division, so too are many of the galactic councils and the groups that you will be all working with. Because remember, as we're moving up, we're going to be working with different councils because it's going to help our healing of separation on our planet. So, and in each will be a dramatic shift dimensionally for those that have not been practicing stillness and spirited interconnection. So again, just keep connecting with your spirit and be still, connecting with your own higher self, nothing else. Then you know that you're going to be moving through these bumps and gyrations of energetic ascension global shifts. And there is no right or wrong way. Again, just be still, just connect. When you have an emotion that comes up that needs to be released, release it. So there will be much that will be activated, and there will be the healing that you do within yourself to create new systems of inspired, unified beliefs, so that your whole collective is a win-win. So you can create, again, those systems of win-win, building the bridges to win-win, building the bridges to understanding that everybody's at a different consciousness level. Everybody will have paradigms of understanding. Everyone will have paradigms of speaking and communicating. And those that are of the highest levels of communicatory vibrational translation will be those placed in those experiences of higher evolutionary Earth, because they're going to be connecting with vibrational councils and groups that will need that communicatory translational gifts and skills and talents. And so everybody has a unique gift, and they will all be used as a part of the puzzle. And so again, your story will be helping others. And it will be anything that was held in limitation or abuse of power or information or interference will be that first, which will be sifted out for everybody to embrace and make new. New Earth mothers will be presented as living songstresses and of a new time for peace and bringing forth energetic messages from afar, from far and wide of your galaxy, for the reharmonization and the entitlement that each of you have within your birthright to know all that you are as galactic and celestial beings. And you will be able to reach those contracts and groups and bring them down into a new life earth within these new offerings of greater unity and greater new earth threading. So again, remember, so just like it's like the threading, right? You're calling in those higher vibrational experiences of who you are on Antares, or what levels of coding and program do they want to offer Earth? The insights and the inspirations, just like I'm channeling my guides and my teams, they're going to offer that information so I can anchor it to Earth, because it's time for us to see new things. It's time for us to see, well, and just for instance, I was inspiring someone to understand that they can see their new life with an experiential partner that's in a different vibration than them. They can see it and create these new openings that can see things in a win-win situation. So there's not the feeling of letting anybody down, releasing the ideals and the concepts of what you thought you had to do and what you're responsible for. Everybody is responsible for their own path, their own healing, their own version of their life reality. And everybody has a choice to be truthful. When you are in truth, your chakras align in greater light. If you are not in truth, then the light is veiled. And so light will continually bring all that was dark into the light. And therefore you'll have to face it and remake it and renew it. Make the foundations of new. Make the seeds of your garden new. In truth, who are you? What do you stand for? What is your message? Who are you? It has nothing to do with anybody else outside of you. Not what God wants of you. It's who are you within? What is your excitement? And why, when you clear those wounds, you're going to be exactly aligned with the excitement of you. The excitement to explore, the excitement to express, and the excitement to experience you. That's what it's about. Experience you. And you're going to be connected with new collective councils in the galaxy, because our planet is now shifting into a new galactic bedding, and why the Ascension symptoms, which we'll talk about in a couple of days, will feel so different, especially in the brain functioning, brain reasoning, and the communicatory systems. So peace and unity will always be the instruction of any offering. And again, when you're in your collective everyday unfolding, if you're in discerning and working with people that are not in alignment of peace and unity, then you know that's a discernment to move away. So if someone is always aligned with their higher self, they will always offer, inspire, empower, and engage and encourage. They would never take from you. Anyone that is aligned with their higher self would always speak of unity and peace. Anyone that's speaking anything different is not aligned with their higher self or spirit. Their highest self is spirit. They're working from wounds and ego. And that is okay. That's an experience. But it's up for everybody to start being the masters of their own reality. What are they choosing to buy into and spend money on and spend intention on and spend energy on? Because that is your reality proof. And so there will be greater and greater peace and unity always through the instruction and the offering of the collectives and the councils. That's Mother, Father, God. Again, if you were to say a statement from God, it would be to have everybody excited to explore all unity. That's God. The excited for you to explore yourself, express yourself, and experience yourself as infinite, eternal beings, and explore. If you had a light ship, why would you stay in one driveway? That's God. God is get out there, go explore, be happy, be fun, be explorative, be expressive. That's God. It's not anything in a box. It's not anything in a certain way that you have to do certain things to be accepted by God. God is God. Accept it all. That's how you heal. And so again, the species of your planet is of great diversity, and your planet is moving into new lineages and remembering to heal the separations and the belief patterns, and it will be offered equal and same light and codes to awaken from other beings and consciousnesses within the galaxies, because remember, they're also expanding as we are, micro macro. So now we're ready for those codes, and it will again return back to peace and unity within who we are. So every new phase will bring, what beliefs was I hanging on to, and how can I create peace and unity? And everybody's at different cascading vibrational dimensions, and that's okay. So have it, be okay. I accept and I acknowledge that we're at different consciousness levels. This is what I'm really excited to create. And I'll accept you when you're creating your experience. Don't interfere with me, and I won't interfere with you. So go about your way in grace and peace. And that's how you know that you're in alignment with your highest self. You're doing as the highest good of will, the highest divine order, and you're aligning yourself with the behaviors and the laws and the universes that align in continued evolutionary light. Everybody in eventuality, it's not a right way and a wrong way. Your life is your proof, because it's all energy. What you put out is what you get back, and it will be more immediate because we're faster now. We're oscillating in faster light. So your life is your proof. Your body is your proof. Your health is your proof. It's not anything else anybody has to prove. There is no right or wrong in any of it. It's all right. It's all a way. It's all a way to experience evolution. We must experience the dark to know what is light. We must experience enslavement to know what it's like to be liberated. It's all one. Again, it's all on the infinity. Everybody gets to choose where they want to be, and nobody has the right to override anybody else's free will. None. And when you do override that free will, that's instant karma. And so everybody's got to work through that. Well, how can I make that right? I don't want to take away that right for you, because otherwise it's going to be taken from you. You take away somebody's free right and what they've done and what they've created, it will be taken from you. And spirit is the only one. Spirit is the only one. That's why spell casting is not necessary. Spirit is the only one to distribute karma. Period. Nobody distributes karma for anybody. Spirit is the only one. And it's done through the highest guidance. People are before you to help them align, to help them awaken, to help them heal, to help them remember who they are. And in that of itself is oftentimes a karmic lesson, because you're giving compassion to someone who is an equal opportunity harming you. But you offered compassion anyways. You offered unconditional forgiveness. So that's a karmic lesson, to be kind and compassionate regardless of what someone's done to you. That's what the Holy Christ taught us. All as your brothers or sisters, treat all as you want to be treated. So it's really not that complex. It's very simple. Light and spirit is very simple. And you can expand in simplicity. So everybody will having those natural, innate human experiences. Well, how can I create more simplicity? Because I want to move more on the planet. Because I know that spirit's going to call me to work with some different things in different ways. I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of activating higher vibrational consciousness wherever God wants me. So I'm not going to be tied to a mortgage. I want to make money and do different things in different ways. I'm going to have maybe a few places everywhere, and they're going to be smaller and a bit more simple. So think about where you're going to be more flexible in these old traditions and these old ways that have held you back in subjugation, and be okay with the variances of consciousness that everybody's working through and moving through. But absolutely know that you're meant to bring your light. You're meant to bring all that you've been through from 3 to 4D. And you're meant to bring the allowance and the acceptance of, yeah, I'm going to move through these emotions. And how can I help others? I'm allowing myself to feel grief. I'm allowing myself to feel loss. I'm allowing myself to feel disappointed. I'm allowing myself to feel taken advantage of. But now I get to realign into something profound. And that, my dear friends, is ascension. And you are profound and infinite. Make no mistake about that. My teens are just saying, Joanna, you're talking too fast. Slow down. It's too funny. I didn't know when I'm aligned. Thank you, Holy Spirit. See, when I'm aligned with spirit, I can talk forever. These could be 5-hour classes. And I've rarely taken any money. And I just keep offering the divine wisdom from the heavens, because I'm a born teacher and healer. I'm a conduit. That's who I am. That's how you know a true prophet, when they do what they do just for the love of it. And it can go off in 100 different tangents. That's God. That is God, my friends. I'm in the toroidal. I'm right there. I'm the new algorithm. And create that for yourself. Be proud of where you are. It's okay to be loving and proud for where you've created. Nobody understands the depths and the darknesses that I've gone through. I wouldn't wish that on anybody, not even for a minute, what I've been through. So I get to be proud about who I am now. I get to be confident, and I get to be in that profound, bold, and brave energy. I've earned that. And my ancestors and all of my galactic family. That's our card today, heaven sent. I've earned that. Every one of these rungs on alchemy, I've earned. And I've sat with God in conversations, millions of conversations with God. God, I could really use a hug today, because there ain't nobody there for me right now. 100 times over. And I get to be proud about my vibration. I get to be proud in my new offerings. I get to be proud in my new celestial galactic voice, because divine feminine has been ignored for thousands of years. And we get to peacefully, and we get to, without protest, without any of the harmful resistance we had before, we get to be in our pride and stand proud in our light, and get to say we are a part of the healing on new earth, and our stories matter, our voices matter. And for all those women that didn't make it through abuse, for all those women that didn't make it through subjugation and enslavement, and the children that are being enslaved on our planet, we are those voices. And I'm proud. I've earned it. I absolutely have earned it. And I get to say that. I get to be in exaltation of who I am, because I finally feel that. I finally am aligned, and it feels really great. It's fucking profound. And no small task, dear lighted one. So you can do this. You can do this. The alignment with light. The alliance with light. Go within and heal. Know you are sacred. Know you are profound. Know you are heaven sent. Everybody on this planet is heaven sent. Make no mistake about that. You are not small. You're not small, so stop acting like it. Your voice is powerful, and your voice is of spirit. It's representation of spirit. So who are you? Speak kind and goodwill. Speak luck and benevolence to all, because you're a part of it. You are divinely loved, and we love you so very much. If you want to contact us, our information is below, and that is my guides and my teams in the highest of the celestial heavens. When I say we, that's who I talk about. I don't have a boss. My boss is God. Walks with me hand in hand, foot in foot. And we're co-partners on this co-creation. I am equal. And so too are you. All are benevolent and all loving brothers and sisters, and I wish you well. Namaste, dear lighted ones. I love you so very much. Go out and play and be a part of Gaia. She has so much love and compassion and love for you. And we love you so very much. And we hope you've enjoyed this session of our early morning Ascension show. We should have like some music. Anybody wants to create some music for me? My early morning Ascension show. Bring it forward. Bye, dear lighted ones. We love you. Rainbow kiss.